Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, so today we have Jack. He is a coach, and he's going to share all about what he does and how he helps people. So, Jack, without further ado, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, firstly, Nick, for having me on your platform and your podcast. It's a real pleasure to be here. But yeah, as you said, my name is Jack Glennon. I'm the founder of Glennon Peak Coaching. Now that's an online coaching business. So what I do is I specialize in coaching people in online platforms. So anywhere in the world. I'm based here in sunny Brisbane, Australia. But because of the online world, I can talk to people in San Francisco, in London, in India, or even 5 minutes down the road. I specialize in career, sales, and leadership coaching. And that's awesome. Focused really on the emotional intelligence side of things, but also for anyone that's new to these industries, transitioning careers, or experienced and going, I'm a bit lost. The dynamics of leadership has changed. The dynamics of business has changed, and I need to catch up. I need support. Really how I do it is a little bit different to a lot of coaches I think out there. Is I don't offer, here's a 10-step program to make you a better person. It's not my style. What I do is I deal with the individual and the challenges they've got first and forehand and tailor everything to them.
That's good.
So what I do is I offer a free 30-minute session with me for anybody. Absolutely anyone can have a free 30-minute session with me to share with me as much as they're comfortable, the challenges they're going through, and they get to meet me, see if they're comfortable with me. You know, not everyone likes everyone. That's part of life. And then what I do in that session is I give them an idea, an indication of how I would approach this with them. And an indicated timeline, options for them. So it's really, really tailored for them to go away knowing all the information and be able to go, is this for me? Yes or no? If it's not, okay, what other avenues could I have? But if it is, amazing. These are the steps that I've got available. So they feel supported in a really non-biased, really individually focused and tailored way.
Yeah, I love that you tailor everything to this specific person. That's huge. And like every client that I have, like we have our group sessions, but then I also work with everyone individually as well because everybody's at a different stage. You know, I work with a lot of business owners, and we're not all doing the same thing. So everybody needs different help along the way.
100%. You mentioned, I'm working with one business and I spoke to the owner. He said, you know, the team needs to learn how to upsell. They're great at this, but they really need to upsell. And I said to him, absolutely, I'll work on with that with them, but they're going to have other priorities as well of what they want to learn, what they need to grow. So with each of them, I've always got a kind of primary and a secondary priority. So it's primary, it's what they want to grow. Some of them might be business acumen, time management, conflict resolution, whatever it might be. And then the secondary is we've also got to make sure we get you used to the ways of working, the approaches of being able to upsell in your role, because that's what the owner's kind of committed to making sure you progress with as well. So it's balancing and making sure everybody wins.
Yeah, I like that. It's always important to make sure everybody wins. And for you're working with a business owner, so you're trying to get his team on the same page. And that's huge. Like when your employees all know the vision of the company and where you want to go, everybody gets excited because you're all working towards the same thing.
You're on the same page and you buy into it, right? You feel part of it. You're not just a cog in the machine, which is easier in smaller organizations and much more difficult in bigger ones.
Yeah, and big organizations, it's hard, but it is doable. You can still have all your employees on the same page. And it's, I know like one thing that works really good is to have a daily meeting every morning. Just a quick 10 to 15 minute meeting where you all go over what you did the previous day, like revenue and everything. And then that gets the whole team pumped up.
I think there's a balance too. I think it's depending on the industry and the time of year as
Yeah.
well. We mentioned before we came online that my wife's in hospitality. I think she would kill me if I suggested she had a meeting every day for her team.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
so I think there's a balance, but communication, you're right, is absolutely key. Even
Yep.
a weekly meeting with your team is so important. I remember I once employed a guy who ended up being an absolute superstar, and I'm very fond of him as a friend now as well.
Mhm.
And he told me about his previous leader, and he said, I would speak to him once every month or two, and that my jaw dropped. Going, you speak to your leader once, and he was in the same country. It's not due to some time differences or anything like that.
Yep.
It was the leader would go, I trust you, but I've got kind of other things to do. But there's a balance
Mhm.
of trust, and also you need to be present and there to support.
Yeah.
A lot of time leaders, they can swing from the two extremes of being too present, but for their
Mhm.
own agendas. I'm not a big fan of that term, but their own reasons. That's probably a better way. I need to have a one-to-one with you every day. Is that
Mhm.
for your benefit, or is that for the leader's benefit? Often
Yep.
is the latter's case. So from that extreme of micromanagement to completely non-existent,
Mhm.
unless again they kind of need you to do something, then they'll. Someone gave me a term recently, which I found quite funny. I don't know if you're familiar with them over here, but they compared their leader to a magpie. In Australia, magpies I think it's when they're nesting. They swoop at people. There's lots of videos online. You have to look for them of people on their sort of bicycles getting chased by magpies down the street. And someone compared their boss, their leader, to a magpie because all he would do is once a week he'd swoop in, tell everyone what he wanted them to do, and go away again.
Mhm.
Which I think is a great term. Not a great leader in that example, but a
No.
great term.
No. Yeah, that is good. That's really good. Yeah, and it's good to have that open communication with everyone. All the team leaders and all the team members. If that communication isn't there enough, then everything tends to fall apart.
It does, and it's interesting. I spoke to someone recently about this, and they were sharing with me the challenges they had within the business as a whole,
Mm-hmm.
and they were a sort of middle management leader, and they would they were explaining to me the challenge at this time was the business wasn't doing very well, and how do they maintain the motivation in their team, but also maintain. I think he used the term like open door strategy.
Mm.
I have an open door strategy, so anyone can talk to me anytime. But how do I kind of balance the fact that things are going pretty badly as a business, but it's also weird in the industry, and remain motivated with the team? And
Yeah.
it is a fine balance, because sometimes, again, we talked about extremes before. You get leaders
Mm-hmm.
who don't share anything with their team and go, "Look, we've
Yeah.
got it under control. We're dealing with it," and having lots of meetings behind closed doors and all these stuff. And people aren't stupid.
Mm-hmm.
That creates uneasiness within the team or the business. People see this and go, "What's going on?" And our imagination's always worse than reality 9 times out
Yep.
of 10.
Yep.
But also you can overshare. And, as a leader, you can go to your team, "Oh my God, all this stuff's going on. And yes, it's really bad." And then they get stressed and they feel,
Yeah, you don't want to do that either. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
100%. So it's about being a balance. You can be infallible to your team. You can be
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable to your team. You should be, and go, you know, because again, your team should know you, so they
Mm-hmm.
recognize. And I will be the first to put my hands up. I used to be appalling at this. My team knew me very well and knew when I wasn't in a great headspace or doing very well, and they go, "You okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine." That was my reaction. "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good.
Yep.
Just I need you guys to do what you're going to do. Da, 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 da." And they get off the phone or get off Teams and go, "He's not fine,"
Mm-hmm.
because they're not stupid. So it's a balance of actually giving them the respect and the honesty, going, "No, I'm not great. No, things aren't great. Thank you so much for asking. I appreciate things are a bit tricky right now. This is what I need you to do." So being really clear and concise on expectations on them. So what winning means to them.
Mm-hmm.
But being open and going, "I'm really struggling. So maybe, guys, tomorrow, if you can give me just 4 hours, I need to knuckle down. I'm going to get this whatever project done." It's
Yep.
showing that you're human and that you're as much as you support them, it's okay to ask them for support sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in a middle management role.
Mm-hmm.
Those people in those positions, they get tough stuff from above and tough stuff from below, right?
Yep. Oh
So
yeah, I've
you've
been
got to
there. Yep.
balance.
Yeah, you do. You do. And it makes your team members connect with you more on a personal level. And when you can just kind of open it up to them and show, your emotions and feelings, I think it helps the workspace a lot. But
It's
like you said, not too much.
balance.
Yep. Yep. So for everybody listening, who is your ideal client?
Great question. Probably a couple of different areas. People who are new into leadership or
Mm-hmm.
struggling in a leadership role and not quite sure the ways about it. Because so often, and many different industries, this is the case, people are thrust into a leadership role because they're the best at the job. And I'll use, and this isn't any specific reason, and I've got nothing against people in finance, but I'll use finance for example. Say you've got a team of 5 in finance, and I don't know, a healthcare company. Quite often, the person who is then put into the leadership role of that team is the best at finance,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily the best person for leadership.
Yeah.
Two very, very different things.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, definitely that. People who are struggling in their careers, as in looking through career transitions, either they've gone through layoffs, redundancies, or we often feel in our lives are just stuck. You can feel stuck at 20, 30, 40, 60. It doesn't matter what age you are. And struggling with that identity piece, which I think is very much intertwined. So those 2 areas, and anyone in sales as well. So it's leadership, career, and sales. But it doesn't matter the age, because I think we all have challenges at different ages. And really going through those challenges and transitions in life, whether it's new to something, whether it's recognizing changes around you, and struggling with that at the same time.
And I would like to talk more about that identity part of it. Figuring out your identity. Would you want to hit on that more?
Absolutely. So I'm a big believer, and having gone through this myself and made mistakes, I think it's something that I'm very open with is talking about my mistakes and how, I had challenges. I've had challenges like everybody in life, and I threw myself more and more into work as a stabilizer. And I think a lot of people do that.
Yep.
And when we do that, work becomes more than what it probably should be. And it becomes part of who we are because it's so ingrained in us. And I mean, I was an extreme case that the company, I won't name the company, but the company that I worked for became literally part of my name. People would say I worked for Nokia, which I didn't. People called me Nokia Jack, which sounds great at the time. It sounds, that's kind of fun. But when things end, you're left with a sense of, well, who am I now without Nokia? Who am I now tomorrow when that's not part of who I am and my routine and people I see every day and, part of my role? And if you're in any role for any decent period of time, one would hope you have a sense of value in that role and sense of giving value and receiving. It's part of who you are, part of your guts, right? Suddenly that's gone. So that next stage is, who am I without that? And it's about navigating your way through that to go, I'm more than just that. That was part of my life for that period of time. The good points, the medium points, the bad points, the journey. But that doesn't define who you are. I say this quite often, love what you do, but don't love the company that you're working for. Because in reality, I'm not talking about being cynical. It's more about just being aware. You can have a huge passion. Everyone should, as much as possible, have a huge passion for what you do. Sometimes that's not vital. I get that, but in an ideal world, we want to have a passion for what we do, and that should never be taken away. But when it comes to work and business, an organization has to look after number one, which is the organization. And no matter who says what, all companies have the trope is we look after our people first. when things go wrong, they don't. And that's just the reality, because the company's got to look after itself. And you've seen this so often in the last 12, 18 months, 2 years of mass redundancies, layoffs, businesses sizing down to continue the growth margins, all sorts, to continue the trajectory of the business, or for some extreme cases, for the business to survive. They've had to let go of people. Absolutely fair enough. It happens. It's not fun. It's really tough for the people involved on both sides, either the people having to deliver the news, make the decisions, or equally the people obviously receiving them. But it has to happen for that business to survive.
Yeah.
And you can't have both. You can't have the feeling of this business loves me, it really, really wants me, and that, because they clash. And that's when you come under troubles or troubling situations. So when it comes to your identity, it's about really redefining it. If this is who I am, yes, this is a job I've got and I enjoy it, or I don't, which, happens to all of us. But what I do in that job is more important. It's more what I do, what's my passion, I use the term the fizz. What's the fizz in your gut and when you're breathing lungs, it gets you excited. Old school salesmen, for example, I use this one metaphor quite a lot. When they sell a car, they go away and go, yes, they get that fizz, that boost. I remember I got it from seeing one of my team succeed, who had gone through lots of struggles, and seeing them get recognized. It was one of the highlights of my career, because I helped that person over a long period of time, mentored, coached, and led them, and they had a lot of struggles. And to see them succeed and, almost stand on the podium, literally was just amazing. That was my kind of phase, if you like.
Yep.
But that's what you do. It's not the title. It's not the business. It's not the job. It's what you do that matters more. But also recognizing that you're more than just that. You've got a whole life around you with people who have got nothing to do with work. You've got interests, and if you don't, it's a challenge to find them.
Realize who you are as a person. Absolutely. And what you want out of life. And, I like to take a look at that outside of your job or your business, and then if they mix together good, that's good. But you still want to separate them.
Absolutely, because sometimes they don't, and it's very. I think it's impossible to define a job for everybody, because it's not fair. Some people are in a position where a job's a lifestyle. Some people are in a position where a job they have to do to put food on the table of the family. And so out of necessity, some people have got it a little in between. They've got a comfortable job and they enjoy it and it's nice and it's, fine. Other people, have a really tricky time. So it's impossible to define it just for everybody. But it's about balance and going, it doesn't define who you are. Yes, we spend so much of our life at work or working. So it's about really identifying what surrounds that as well. Who are you as an individual? Who are you, Nick, myself, Jack, whatever it might be? You're not that job. You're not that title. It's part of your journey.
And I know exactly what you're talking about, because from the time I was like 17 to 27, I worked for my dad for his company. And that was a part of me. Like, that company was me. I did everything I could to help that company. And it really consumed me. Not really in a bad way. Like, I loved what I did. But it also took me away from what do I actually want out of my life. It was just kind of, I grew up, my dad had a company, I worked for him, and that was it. Like, I didn't really think about what I wanted until after we sold the company. Then I was like, well, I was actually like, oh crap, what the hell am I going to do? But through that process, I figured out what I actually wanted to do, and now I'm doing that.
Amazing. So, you were put in position for the first time probably in that period where you had to look at yourself and go, what do I want? Who am I? What gets me up in the morning?
And that's the most important thing. What gets you up in the morning? Because if you don't know like your why, like why you're here, if you don't know what you're passionate about and your purpose, it is so hard to get out of bed. I've been there. It sucks.
Absolutely. It happens so often to so many people, and that's, you hear about, depression and all sorts, but
Mm-hmm.
we go through stages in life of not knowing. I mean, not everybody, but a lot of people do go through stages of life going, I've no idea what I want to do. I was speaking to someone recently, a good friend of mine, and, I was trying to give them some advice, and we quickly realized in the conversation that we were having that he just doesn't know. And I said, we spoke, and I explained that's okay. It's normal. It's fine. It's fine. First of all, this isn't something weird. But he doesn't know. He's at a point in his life where he goes, I don't know what I want to do. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's various techniques that I use when I talk to people. I'm starting to say when I'm doing the coaching of how to find that. I talk about non-negotiables and writing them out and mapping it out. But it's that first step, because it can be scary to a certain degree for some people, but it's that definite feeling of just lost. And getting up and going, I don't know what I'm doing, and almost monotonously going through the routine, going, okay, that's it. When are you going to stop doing the monotonous and recognize you're unhappy, but then go, okay, what am I going to do about it?
Yep.
Because that's one of the tough things about any of this. Same with coaching is you can ask for as much support, and I encourage everyone to do so, but you've still the person who's got to do it. I had a conversation with someone in one of my 30-minute sessions not too long ago, and they told me their challenges, and I said, gave them their map, and then they went, okay, so how much does it cost, and went through the nuts and bolts as one does, and so I explained to them, well, I've had coaching once before, and they offered me kind of a money back guarantee at the end of the sessions. And I challenged him on that. I'm like, it's interesting. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to offer that. And this is the reason why. And the main couple of reasons was, well, firstly, I could quote you for 10 sessions and it takes us 6. So then I've overcharged you, which is a bit unfair on you. But also it's a reciprocal thing. If I give you all the tools, all the direction, I challenge you, because often in coaching, as you know, Nick, that you tell them what they need to hear, not necessarily what they want to hear all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But if you log off after our hour session and don't do anything, nothing's going to happen. Part of coaching or leading or mentoring, any of these sort of areas, it's about giving people the tools to go and do it. I would love to do it for people. I'd love to be able to, tick the box and wave the magic wand and go, it'll all be okay, and do it. But
it's not like that.
Secondly, it's not realistic. And thirdly, if it was, they wouldn't grow. You don't grow if other people just do it for you. And that's the tough bit.
And you have to put in the work so you learn as you go. Yeah. If it just happened, more than you're probably gonna end up right back where you were, because you don't know how you got there.
100%. Yeah. And we're the 30th of December now, so it's nearly the end of 2024. And for some people it's been a good year. For other people it's been a really tough year. So there'll be a lot of reflection going on. New Year's Eve tomorrow. A lot of people will be reflecting on the year, and that's always a positive thing. But it's also about putting it to bed and moving forward. But equally, it's about reflecting and going, am I the same person as I was a year ago? I know personally I'm not. No chance. Completely different place. Far better. Incredibly challenging year. But the journey has got me to being in a better place.
This episode of the Infinite Abilities podcast is brought to you by the one and only Infinite Toolbox, where just like all other toolboxes, we will get the job done, guaranteed. Whether you're an entrepreneur looking to save time, boost revenue, or automate your processes, Infinite Toolbox has got you covered. With powerful tools designed to drive leads, expand your reach, and gain your industry secrets, we help you work smarter, not harder. Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Visit us at infinitetoolbox.com. That's infinitetoolbox.com. And discover how infinite your potential really is. Yep.
Yeah, and
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, 100% worth it. Because you go through things in life, and I'm a big fan of Gordon Ramsay actually said it recently. I'm a big fan of his, to be fair. I think he's shown he's a big character for one, but I think what he's done in life is to be applauded. And he did a wonderful interview where he talked about adversity, and he said everybody that has adversity at a younger age, you can tell. The younger you're dealt a tough card, the better, because you learn how to manage it, how to cope with it, how to go through it, stumble, fall, get up again.
Yep.
Because by going through adversity, you grow. I think remember Jimmy Carr in an interview saying, you find me a good comedian who's not been through tough times. Or someone with character. Find me someone who's not been through any tough times at all, and I guarantee the character isn't as much.
Yep, exactly.
And a great saying is, get comfortable in the storm. Don't fear the storm, get comfortable dancing in the rain.
Yeah.
Which is a brilliant sort of metaphor and a lovely image as well. But all these things are adversity, and what it does, and I had a moment about a month ago where something happened and I was feeling a bit down. And I sort of, not a great space. But I stopped myself because I reflected on it. Okay, this isn't great. This sucks. This is not fun. But is it as bad as this that I went through? I went, not even close. So you'll be fine. You'll get through it.
Yeah.
So it's also that reflection piece of growth and learning and comparison, and you just continue forward.
Yep. All right, man. This has been really awesome. And I want to encourage everyone, if you resonate with Jack and you know that he can help you, even if you think just a little bit he can help you, please reach out to him, because I know that I didn't find my purpose until I hired a coach. That was when we worked through everything that I had going on and figured out what my purpose in life is. And now I'm living that purpose every day, and I love it. So, Jack, how can people reach out to you?
A couple of different ways. Thank you ever so much, Nick. So firstly, through the website, which is www.glennonpc.com. Also through the Instagram @GlennonPC, but also through my LinkedIn. Whichever they are, you'll get me. You're not going to get a bot or a call center. It all comes through directly to me.
Awesome. And then I got to ask you, so my slogan is, your abilities are infinite. What does that mean to you?
I love your slogan, for starters.
Thank you.
To me, that says that, or what that means to me, more than anything else, is you are your biggest handbrake. We limit ourselves through our own perceptions, but through what we feel are perceptions of others. So much. And don't get me wrong, I remember an old friend said this very well. He was quite short, and he said, well, I'm never going to play basketball, I'm never going to play NRL because I'm 5'2". Okay, we all have physical limits. I'm certainly no sprinter, myself. But in terms of what we want out of life, we're our own handbrake. So take it off.
Man, I think that's one of my favorite ones so far. So thank you for that. Okay. I'm a car guy, so I resonate with the handbrake a lot. It's always fun to pull it. So yeah. All right. Well, Jack, this has been really awesome. Thank you again.
My absolute pleasure, Nick. Thank you ever so much.
If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in it, the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember, your abilities are infinite.